incredible leaders, influencers, celebrities, athletes, people making an impact, people making a change. They're releasing new episodes every week, episodes that creates lasting change. You guys know me, I'm on a huge mission to help even more people. My dream in life is to be one of the guys that help make poverty history. We are out there with new initiatives to help others. Do you have a story? Do you have a message? Do you empower others? Do you have a system and things that you teach that leave others in a much better place than what you found them? If that's you, my friend, I want to hear your story. I start a new initiative, Name Your Price, to be interviewed on the Carlos Inspire Show. And we will put out an amazing episode to share your greatness with the rest of the world. Let's get ready to get Rumbo. Today we are uncovering the unique journey of a man who has devoted his life to pushing boundaries of healing, mind, body, and soul. Abel Jones, known as the Heal Coach, has helped athletes, high achievers, and even those dealing with rare medical condition find relief and realignment. This energy is the energy healing like you never heard before. Welcome to the stage, my brother, Abel, a.k.a. Jones. What's up, my friend?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Okay,
How are you, brother?
Okay, doing well. Doing well.
Very good, man. I know. I'm glad that you were able to get the internet Starlink, God bless Elon Musk, to be able to get that to work, my friend. I know that you are in the mountains.
Yeah.
And I'm glad. Yeah. And I know that I surprised you. We were going to record it, but I'm like, you know what? We're going to make this live. So not only people can enjoy it live, and then on Monday next week, this will become episode 80 of the Carlos Inspire Show. And I'm super excited for this incredible segment that I prepare. And let's get straight to it. Cable, you've been described as the winner's edge for high performers. Can you break it down, what the edge really means and why it's beyond just hard work and motivation?
The winner's edge, there's often just very small amount of change in very specific areas of the human body, and then you can get the edge that you are looking for. Like the hockey player, he's allergic to all of his clothes. Clearing out that energy that causes his clothes, he was trying to make shots. He was good on the ice, but every time he went to hit and make a goal, he wasn't able to. I spoke with him, and I could tell that he didn't like the fabric on his body. I cleared that out, and he started making shots. The first time within 15 years, this team went to nationals. They hadn't gone there because they were having difficulty with certain things like this. So the winning edge is you things you've never thought about, but they're affecting your performance. That's close to the body, but it could be you could be allergic to your socks. And that's causing your ankles to be weak. There's many athletes out there. They're like, my ankles have been weak my entire career. I don't know what's going on. And it's literally the fabric next to their ankle that causes their ankle to be weak.
Wow. It's incredible. Right? Sometimes like the little things that we could at least think about and at least can, and that's why it's so important, whenever we are struggling with anything in life, right? Having a coach, having a mentor, having somebody that the second set of eyes. We often have blind spots. And, no, trust me, I also mentored a lot of athletes in businesses. They want to buy companies, sell companies, franchises, and they want to take it to another level. They have us come in and do sales workshop for the employees. So I'm constantly talking to those guys. So I definitely know the level that it takes to also deal with them. You know how athletes and high performers, it's a whole nother level of mindset and ego and so many things that's involved there. So very interesting perspective there, my friend. And you talk about helping clients find purpose through releasing pain. How do you see pain as a pathway to greater clarity and fulfillment, Cable?
Well, most athletes, they don't even know because the coaches, everyone like, hey, every athlete's in pain, but they don't know how much pain they're in. That's the issue. So most of the time, when I start working with them, they're like, Cable, I just didn't know how much pain I was in, but I've been in massive pain. And once they're able to start releasing this pain, a large portion of athletes, they have a pain threshold, and it's not like the average person is pain threshold 0, and athletes can be 50,000, 100,000, 500,000% higher than the normal person for pain threshold. That means that they can injure themselves 500,000 times more than the normal person. And so when they come to me and say, hey, I have a painful knee, I know that there's a lot more damage inside their entire body than they know about. And so they're just complaining about this little injured knee, but they have injured feet, they have injured back, they have injured everywhere. And so it's a lot more pain than they even know about. They heal up very fast as well. They when they're only complaining about the knee, there's a lot more that needs to be worked on and recovered from than just that knee.
Interesting, very interesting. And Cable, you work with clients across the globe. I know you for a long time. I mean, you've been helping people from UK to Africa and around the US and everywhere. What have you found to be universal in the healing journey, regardless of culture or background?
Depending on the people in Africa, I found that they heal very fast. They have so much areas of the world where there isn't very much money. They have to make sure their bodies are working really well. That's their business. But in athlete space, it's their business to make sure their body's working really well. So in athlete space, they're not feeling as much of their trouble. In other places where it's high poverty, they fill their body 100%, and they're just trying to the people in Africa. One man is like, yeah, I've had this hurt leg for 3 years now. I don't know what's kind of going on. They don't necessarily go to the doctor easily. And I said, oh, you just have a torn muscle in the backside. We need to heal that up. And it was like 5 minutes later, like, I felt better. Thank you so much. He's out the door. I was like, wow. People in Africa heal up very fast. Other people in other places, they have their minds so full of all these other things, they're not really paying attention to what's going on. So when something does go on, it stays around for a long period of time until they receive additional help. So it's just the level of awareness is similar whether you're an athlete or a normal person off the street. Either you have higher awareness or you have low awareness, and anywhere in between.
Interesting, very interesting. I mean, and you have some unique frameworks and strategies that I know you from the time that we know each other. I mean, in your proprietary body analysis method, it goes deep into understanding what is going on inside someone. Can you share a bit more about this technique and how it helps get to the root of the issues?
Well, there's several different systems, layers. We have a physical body, we have emotional body, a mental body, spiritual body, lots of different bodies that make up our system. And people like, well, yeah, I've got a spirit, but they never think to that level. As the physical body has a digestive system. The spiritual body has a digestive system. What? No, my spiritual body doesn't. Yeah, all these bodies have digestive systems. So sometimes it's not occurring on the physical body. It could be occurring in the spiritual body digestive system. And we know the good book says all things are created spiritually for physically. So sometimes the issue, I might have someone who's like, I have a painful upper leg. It's like, oh, yeah, you tore a muscle. It's like, yeah, I healed that up, but I still have a painful upper leg. It's like, yeah, your spiritual muscle on the upper leg is still torn. Once that spiritual muscle is healed up, then that leg feels better. It's like, wow, how did you know that? I mean, I didn't know that my spiritual body has muscles. Yeah, it's the same as our physical body. We just don't. It's so that's one deep level that people may not have ever thought about. And then just reading these research papers, there's one research paper saying, yeah, the human body, they tested how much weight that the foot needs to be able to hold in order to walk, just to walk. The bones of the feet need to be able to hold 3 times the body weight in order to walk. It's like it's like, I don't know why my back's breaking down. It's like, what's your weight? And we times that by 3. Do your feet bones want to support that amount of weight? And often it's like, no, they only want to support 1 pound and they need to be supporting 600 pounds. So if the feet break down, the rest of the body starts to break down. And so the feet literally have to say, the feet bones, individual bones have to say, yeah, I can hold 600 pounds. And people can go out and they go to the chiropractor, they go to other people, kinesiologists, and to test how many pounds will my feet bones hold. And literally like 1 pound, like you're not able to walk that if your feet bones cannot hold the amount of weight to walk three times your body weight, to run 5 times, to sprint 7 times, to jump on one foot 10 times, to walk on uneven ground 13 times your body weight. And this is scientifically been proven that you have to have so much ability for that foot to support. And this is a big thing in athletes that I've talked with, pro athletes, I've talked with high school, college athletes, and they're like, I've never heard this stuff. I've never understood. Nobody's told me that my feet have to be able to support a certain amount. Yeah, they exercise their feet. They didn't know that there's a certain amount of weight that foot needs to be able to hold.
Wow. It's interesting. I mean, I know a lot of it because soccer players, they would like insure their feet and their legs, right? And that's a big deal. That's why sometimes you see how when they perform for the national team and perform for their local nation team, they perform at different levels. They know they get that foot injured. It's like, and sometimes it's even in the contracts. It is interesting,
Hopefully the coach from Mexico calls me up soon, because his players need a lot of help on that artificial turf down at the stadium. Their ankles are not performing well on that artificial surface. Anyway.
Well, no, I'm telling you, I pray that they call you too, my brother, because, you've been in this industry for a very long time. I travel the world speaking for companies, interviewing incredible people, and your proprietary methods and some of the stuff that you do is pretty unique. That's why I'm glad that we are having this conversation, because maybe even like you say, a normal person has been having some weird, foot pain and weird pains on their ankles and their legs and their feet. And they're like, wow, I've been to chiropractors. I've been to different doctors. Nobody can fix this. Maybe they can give you a call, reach out to you, right? Follow you on LinkedIn at Cable R Jones and look you up, and then have a conversation and take a look like, what is the root cause? Like you say, right? It might be something much deeper in there that a professional chiropractor or myofascial or regular doctor are not able to see, or to, things that cannot be fixed in the, medical space.
And but, even the normal person out there, often they are a pro athlete. They are a massive high athlete. They just like, man, I've just never been able to do things. And it's like maybe something happened when they were being born, or as a childhood, their feet got crushed. They don't even remember that accident. And then later in life, they're like, I don't know, I just can't able to exercise. I don't know what the issue is. I'm lousy. And it's like, even the most overweight, obese person out there is like, you have massive amount of injury. Most people are able to do a lot of things, but even the normal person out there then often is the athlete that can excel massively if these type of things can recover inside of.
Interesting. And I mean, based on what I know you over the years, I mean, you tackle from everything from like athletic injuries to rare conditions like, chronic intestinal pseudo obstruction, for example.
Yeah, right.
And how do you approach such a wide variety of issues. That's part one of the question.
Okay.
And part two, how does energy play a role in each case?
So often I'm researching, maybe watching a documentary like on CIPO. That's a rare disease. Over only about 150 people per year get this particular disease. But essentially, it's where the stomach shuts down. They can't eat food. It goes in the stomach and then it just like rots. And it's very painful. At some point, it takes 7 years for CIPO people to get diagnosed. So for 7 years, the people are like, I don't know what's going on. They're going to doctors everywhere. Nobody's like finding out and finally diagnosed with CIPO. And it's at that time, it's like we can't use the gastrointestinal system any longer. So they put a pick into the heart for digestion, and the gastrointestinal system is not used for the rest of their life. That is, I was watching a documentary on this, and I was like, I know what's going on. And this person, why is the stomach in this? It was excessive amounts of shock, all types of shock, low pass shock, emotional shock, mental shock, anaphylactic shock. All this types of shock in this person's body actually causes the stomach to electrocute. And very few people, you can literally cause parts of the body to shut down or to move into a space of death space. Yeah, it's massive. And that's the only way that the food rots, because the people are like, yeah, it's just rotting inside of there. And so it's like, I'd love to help those 150 people throughout the world get over CIPO. That'd be amazing. And so, yeah, energy. When I'm thinking about bones are solid. But when you think about a table is solid, but a table is energy. The computer's energy. The solid bone is energy. So when often people, they get x-rays, like, I still have pain in my back. They've done x-rays. There's nothing broken there. It's like, but I still have pain. It's like, well, you might still have a broken back. The x-ray didn't show this, but you might still have a broken back. And so what I check into the energy, I ask the vertebrae, like, hey, are they broken? And the vertebrae, yeah, I'm broken. It's like, it didn't show up on the x-ray. Yeah, we're energy. So a solid bone that's energy can be broken.
Wow.
And so it's just, when you think about it, it's like, but it's solid. It's not energy. Like, it's solid energy. You can't put your finger through it. Glass is liquid. If you were a small enough finger, you put your finger through glass. It's still solid. And we're just like, I can't. So even in energy, it's hard for people to think of a solid something as energy, and it can still be broken. Even if you can't see any lines of brokenness on a bone, it can still be broken.
Interesting. Very, very interesting, my friend. And I mean, with your work in energy healing, Cable, and extensive experiences in water conservation, I mean, you are addressing like wellness on a personal and planetary level. Do you see a connection between the two?
Outdoor conservation, irrigation consulting, engineering I've done in the past. So the earth has its own water process and system and cycle. And in some areas they're running out. There's droughts. Inside the human body, there are droughts. I was studying into what causes diabetes. And the same symptoms of dehydration are the same symptoms of diabetes. You're running out of water. You have trouble. And it's not the whole body. It's like, I'm drinking water all the time. It's like the person can become allergic to water. So literally, I've been drinking water my entire life. I was like, when I check in, it's like, you've not been absorbing water. Never? You never you can't. Yeah, you've just not been absorbing water. And so the symptoms are like, yeah, I have really low blood sugar. This is kind of like, no, this is it, you have enough water in the system. It's just not being absorbed. Oh, I mean, just because I drink water doesn't mean it doesn't automatically absorb. So there's all sorts of things that can. So then I was like reading up on sleep deprivation for diabetes, and someone who is sleep deprived, their pancreas naturally releases less insulin when there's sleep deprivation. And it's like, how many people have sleep deprivation? I sleep 9 hours a night. I know, but you're only getting about 1 hour, even when you're sleeping 9 hours. These are individual cases. Not everyone's not only getting 1 hour, but people with diabetes tend to have sleep deprivation, tend to have severe dehydration, tend to have, there's another one, but it's a word that doctors don't even want to say. It's a bad, it's like when someone has this, they're in the bad zone of speaking.
You got me curious. What is the word? I mean,
It's-
we're not going to get canceled, right? If we say it.
Maybe. So it's septicemia. When someone has septicemia, they're like, oh no, this person has to go into the hospital immediately. There's septicemia. But nobody's described chronic septicemia. You don't survive septicemia, you die. But when someone is under septicemia energy, and maybe it's a thin septicemia in diabetes, but in diabetes, septicemia is in septicemia, the body naturally releases high amounts of sugar.
Interesting.
And so you're like, why do I have high sugar? Well, you're in septicemia. No, I would be dying right now. I've been living for a long time. It's like, I know you're in a chronic septicemia. It's like, but why don't I die? Well, you're a special superhero. People with diabetes don't die of septicemia. Only certain people die of septicemia. You're chronic septicemia, so you're not dying, but you've got dehydration, sleep deprivation, and septicemia. And those are the things that we need to fix, to recover, not fix. What we need to recover from, what we need to heal from. Yep.
No, interesting. And many of your clients, Cable, are like top level athletes, who can't afford any downtime. And nowadays, even in corporate, right, they cannot afford, that also all my CEO friends and founders listening to us here and coaches out there. How does energy, like healing help them recover faster and stay ahead in their careers?
So many of the executives, they have back pain. They've sat on the desk, at their desk. They think, oh, it's just because I'm sitting at my desk, and it has nothing to do with sitting at your desk. Yeah, a lot of doctors are like, oh, you can't, it's because you're atrophying, you're sitting at your desk. We as humans can sit at a desk for 13 hours a day and not break down. The thought process of breaking down causes the breakdown. If we are creatures of habit, for us to think that we're breaking down by sitting at a desk breaks us down. I can sit at a desk forever for long periods of time with no breakdown. So it's what you think about, you bring about. What's your emotion is. So recently I was checking into what causes multiple sclerosis, and I was like, and I had a client who was a retired emergency room doctor with multiple sclerosis, or she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and she's like, I don't know if it's that or something else. And she definitely had spent her whole career learning things. And so I was like, I believe the underlying emotion of multiple sclerosis is boredom. And there's a lot of people with multiple sclerosis out there who are like, I can't handle what you just said there. But there's a large portion of the people with multiple sclerosis who will say, yeah, I've always been bored, because I've talked with them before. I've always been bored. It's like, that emotion of boredom, you gotta move that out of your space. In my space, I've never been bored. I don't get bored. I don't know even what that emotion is, but I've been in a space where I was bored for about 30 minutes when I was checking into multiple sclerosis, maybe Parkinson's, maybe ALS people. They tend to have some boredom, a lot of boredom. And literally when they can switch that to happiness and joy in their system, when they're thinking like, today I feel joy. Today I'm full of happiness. But a large portion are like, I'm so bored. And they never connected that emotion to causing inflammation and breakdown inside their body. Because if their nerves, what you think about on the outside, what you think about inside your head, will also happen on the inside, cellular level. atom level, all parts of you will think, I'm so bored. I don't know what to do. Even the nerves don't even think about what to do. They're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. They're not healing up the body. They're not automatically healing up things. They're just like, I'm so bored. I don't know what to do. And literally their nerves are breaking down because they're bored. It's like, so everyone, what you think about, you bring about. So if you're thinking boredom, it's also boredom on the inside of you. Your cells that need to be healing on a constant basis, they're not healing. They're just like, I'm so bored. I don't know what I don't know if I'm supposed to be taking in things or taking out things. And so that's one space. And so it really does matter what you are feeling. And so then also people like one steak of acid. Like if I eat this steak, it's going to cause me to become acidic. And that's food. And people often come down with disease and they're like dis-ease. And they're like, man, I have to change my food. But they don't change their emotion. One emotion equals one steak of acid. And so you might be eating good food, no steaks, you cut out that, you do a lot of different things. I'm not saying cut out steak, but often people describe red meat as an acidifying inside the body. And if you eat vegetables, alkalizing things, then you're not acidifying. But if you are eating emotions, anger, frustration, irritation, one emotion, irritation, is the same acid as one steak. And they're like, oh, I'm really angry, but I've changed my food eating habits. You're still angry. So you're creating acid inside your body all day long, high amounts. So when I have acid reflux, GERD, I was like, okay, what's the emotion stuck in my stomach? Irritation, frustration. Let's let those go. And literally within a few minutes, I can alkalize my stomach by releasing those emotions. That's the fastest way. Or you can drink like lemon juice, other things. That's food-wise, but releasing an emotion is massively allows you to change your pH down to neutral to alkalize by changing that emotion. And that's where people miss. There's just like, oh, I can feel however I need to feel. I eat well, but I have a lot of irritation and frustration happening in my life. You got to change that. Or you can eat well all day long and still have trouble and breakdown inside your body.
Wow, very interesting. And Cable, what advice would you give to someone listening to us now who feels is stuck in their career path, in their health, or their personal life? That's part one of this question. And part two, on top of the advice that you give to that person struggling, how can they begin their journey to release pain and rediscover their purpose? Maybe a strategy that you could share with that person. Because as you and I know, bro, since COVID, a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people. I mean, I'm involved in so many causes, helping people out there, and to the point where, it got so dangerous in South America that, like I was talking to you, I'm actually going to be shutting down operations down there because it's just too danger. And I'm going to be starting literally going on the streets, as I always do with my daughter, feeding moms on the parking lot, selling strawberries with their children. We have a bunch of those over here in California, in Brazil. This way, in Brazil, it got to a point where I cannot even put a post on the Facebook that I am going from this airport to that airport, as the bad guys, they know Carlos is coming, and then they will block it down the road, going from the airport to visiting one of my farms, try to harass me, kidnap. It's crazy. It's total chaos.
Yeah.
And it's not just in Brazil, it's here in California where I live. Right. Everywhere I go, so much homelessness, so many people on the streets, so many veterans. I'm big in helping veterans. We see them on the streets. It got to a place where mass layoffs. So a lot of people are worried. A lot of people, I lost a friend for suicide a few weeks ago. The person got laid off, couldn't find a job. I wish that they would just pick up a call and call me, because even when you are laid off and you are worrying so much, and then you start eating, now you're putting food on top of inflammation, which you understand that very well. It's the worst thing that you can do, right? And so it's a big, it's a virus, man, as you and I know. And I mean, I know that you are very skillful and this happens to be one of your superpowers. So I would love for you to, give an advice to this person listening to us now or on the replay that is stuck in their health, in life, in their career. They're just not feeling it. And maybe share a technique for that person to help maybe release some of that and connect it back to their purpose. I would love, for you to, take some time on this question.
So initially, the part of the body that can start changing, usually changing the fastest, is the mental body and the mental brain. So you have to start educating yourself. And I was like, well, I don't have any books. It was like, well, look at the sunrise, look at the sunset. You understand that when it rises, when it sets, how fast it's going, how is it going up over the head, what type of shadows. If you don't have any access to books, you can look at how the sun works. Like, well, I know about the sun. It's like, no, you don't. If you are in depression, if you're feeling sad, you don't know about the sun. Well, no, I looked at the sun. I know about, you've never looked at the sun. I want you to look at the sun at sunrise, sunset, and get that circadian rhythm. You know when it sets and you know when it comes up. If you don't know when it sets and when it comes up, for some reason you're blocked and you don't know when it sets, you walk out and you see it set. And then you walk out and you see it come up in the morning time. You get your nighttime set and rise set up inside your body. That will give you massive encouragement to do more, because at least the sun's moving. You can move. And sometimes you're like, I can't move. It's like depression is about changing your perspective. And so you're in this big hole and you're the little tiny person at the bottom of the big hole and you're looking up. And some people are in massive wells and they can like look up and like, I can see the light right way up 100 feet above me. It's like, I'm in massive depression, massive well, they're like in darkness. It's like, okay, how are we going to get you out of this hole? Is there someone or some energy that's stronger than you are? And the person like, I do believe in the mountain, or I believe in source, or I believe in God or Allah. I believe in these energies. Like, okay, can you call out to this energy for help? What do they say? It might be like, well, I think they can hand me a shovel and I can dig myself out of here. Or can you stretch yourself up, your energy, your spiritual, can you stretch up 100 feet in the sky? Your spiritual body can like stretch up there. And literally some people are like, I can see out. I can see this town. They're out of their well. And it's like all of a sudden that perspective inside of them changes. They're like, I can step out of the well now. I can step out of this depression where I was a little person. And now I'm a big person, giant. And it's just like a little puddle. I can walk from that space. And so it's just often people are like, Cable, I have been stuck with my light switch off. And I try to turn it on and it turns off. And I'm just trying to, and I've had all my ancestors like holding it up and it's like turning off. It's so dark. I can't get out of this hole. I'm trying. And like, okay, I have a new thought process. We're just going to take this little source drop of water. You're going to have source energy. You're going to have Jesus. You're going to have Buddha. You're going to have someone, and they're going to come and drop this little drop of water, bright drop of water inside your chest, and it's going to start spreading out. It's going to fill your whole body with liquid light. And they're like, it's filling my whole body with liquid light. This is like, I don't have to switch the switch on anymore. It's like filling my whole body with light. This is like something I've never had happen to me. It's like, it's amazing when you can get living water inside of you. It's none of this stinky, nasty smelling water that's inside of you. It's like starts turning into life. And you are able to then step out of that space into a new space that you've never known before. And often people who are like addicted to alcohol or drugs, they just have all this garbage. And if you can, like, there's some sort of something that can change my life, and usually source energy can change someone's life massively and fast. They just never thought about how to go about having source energy energize them.
Yes. No, I love it, man. It's such a unique perspective. As I've done a lot of studies over the years, with Tony Robbins and many people that mentor him on his strategic intervention. I love metaphors, and you got to be careful, right? Like you say, like those metaphors and those identities that we label ourselves, right? I'm stuck. I cannot get out of this hole, and all this crap that we feed our mind. And then, like you say, also the drugs, the alcohol, a lot of those things that we are putting in is creating the inflammation. Nothing against having here and there, but sometimes we put in that stuff in our body for so long, and it's only like it's not fixing anything. It's just numbing us for a
Yeah,
bit for
well,
that moment.
often the alcoholic is it's not the body has the cells have a part of the cell can deal with no oxygen. It can actually create energy in fermentation, no oxygen environment. It can also produce energy in oxygen environment. There are some athletes that run 500 miles, ultra marathons. They work under very high amounts of no oxygen environment. They can run without any oxygen for 500 miles, and people are running out of oxygen. The people who are on the oxygen level, they have more difficulty than the person who can exist with no oxygen for long periods of time. Their cells perform under no oxygen. There are some athletes that only have the oxygen. If they develop the non-oxygen side, that would be beneficial for them. And the non-oxygen, if they develop the oxygen side, that would be beneficial. You can increase your athletic ability if both of these sides are used sufficiently and effectively throughout your entire life. But if you're just only using one or the other, you might produce more alcohol, fermentation, alcohol inside your body, and then you start drinking it on the outside. When you get enough of it on the inside, made by your own body, alcohol, then you start drinking it on the outside of you. So people who are alcoholics, like, I am having trouble quitting. It's like, we got to work with your body so it stops producing alcohol inside of you, so you can stop drinking on the outside of you. So usually what you find on the outside of you that you're having difficulty with is also a problem you have on the inside of you.
Wow. Such an interesting perspective, my friend. And Cable, as we're getting towards the end here, what an incredible episode. And thank you for bringing your A game into this show, as I knew you're going to bring it. And that's why I made this suggestion to change it the last minute you live. And Cable, what is the best place for them to follow up with you? Where do you hang out the most on social media? Is it on social? Is it better to go on your website? What is the best place to follow up and get a hold of you?
Usually have people access me on WhatsApp, but LinkedIn, I don't know if we can probably send out some links, put links in the bottom of the podcast.
Oh, yeah, on the bottom of the comments. And then you are also tagged. We're actually streaming this live on LinkedIn. Okay. So a lot of people that are already on LinkedIn, they'll be able to follow you from here.
LinkedIn would be beneficial right now. It would be great. I tend to have most of my work done through referrals, but here's a referral here. So yeah, LinkedIn would probably be the best place to.
And for you guys, my loyal listeners, for you guys listening to the show on our carlosinspireshow.com every Monday at 7:17 a.m. Pacific time, we release a new episode. You guys that are listening, you can go to Cable R. Jones on LinkedIn and drop a follow to my friend Cable, and he will connect with you back, and you guys can message him there and then have a conversation on WhatsApp and any things that you guys are going through. You maybe tried so many different doctors. I know that I tried so many things over my lifetime. I had a few calls with Cable. Cable know a little bit about my story, my wife and my daughter. So
I use all the apps. So there's some people who don't like WhatsApp. They go to Telegram. They have Facebook. I know some people only like to communicate on the phone. So I talk with people on the phone. So some people aren't online or social. So I speak with them on the phone. Sometimes I meet with them in person. So it just depends on the person and how they would like to interact.
No, man, I know that about you, man. It's you and another friend of mine that I have. He's out there helping a lot of leaders of the world. He helps all the presidents and very powerful people. And he flies in. He's like, I'm old school. You call me on the phone and I will fly in and we'll make it happen. And Cable, as you know, my final question of the show that I ask every guest that's been here before, all the legends, and now you are part of that tribe. It's about your eulogy. It's 70 years from now.
Yeah.
You're going to be 100 years old,
Yeah.
and your best friend is going to be reading it. And he's going to say, Cable Jones was ... In your own words, who was Cable Jones?
I mean, Cable helped hundreds of thousands of people. I often work with people who are connected to 1 million people, 10 million, 100 million people. One person connected to all those people, and I can heal that one person or help that one person recover. So everyone, you might like, man, I'm not spreading my word fast enough. And is like, well, you heal the one, you heal yourself, or you have someone help you heal, and that changed the entire world. So yeah, Cable Jones helped change the entire world.
Wow. I love that, my brother. I love that. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Cable Jones, episode 80 of the Carlos Inspire Show. I appreciate you guys. As you guys know, this show is free. The way how you guys can help us is by listen, is by subscribe, is by dropping a review on Apple, on Spotify, iHeartRadio. We are a 5-star show on all those stations. We've been doing the show for several years now. We have legends. They are no longer alive, but we capture the last question. Their unity. Now you
just send them my way. Come on. Okay.
For real, right? Before they die, we're going to send them to my brother Cable Jones in the house at the Carlos Inspire Show. I appreciate you guys. You guys know the drill. Life is all about the mission, never the commission. And whenever you feel like down, depressed, you want to pull that gun, you want to jump that bridge, call Cable. Call myself. Imagine your brother Carlos Inspire, 6'5", 300 pounds, giving you a hug, looking you in the eyes, and saying, the days that break you are truly the days that make you. God bless.